Hello guys, welcome to Tech and Tech. In my last video I talked about Persia and why we are undefeatable, and no, I'm not Israeli, and in my video I said Persians, and in many cases I said Persians. By Persians I meant like people that live in Persia. Persia on the geographic map is actually pointed towards where Iran is. And by the people living in Persia or Iran, I mean like literally anybody that lives in there, because they are of multiple races and types, such as I myself am a Persian Turk. There are Turks, there are Southerns, there are Afghans, there are Kurds, there are Northerns, there are a ton of people, and tons of different races, tons of different types of people living within Iran. And some people were angry over the fact that I said Persians, which actually points towards, well, mainly people that live in the middle of Iran, meaning that they thought that I totally disregarded Turks, Kurds, and all other types of people that live in Iran. But I actually meant all of them. But anyway, let's get on to the actual today's video. Now today's video is going to be about drones. This video was going to be for the last week because the fact that I didn't have enough time to research it, last week I decided to give myself a week of break and actually do a week of research to be able to provide you guys with a good video. Now, the video we're going to be talking about today is going to be about drones. Now, drones have been with us for a long time. You can say for a long time. Like compared to other modern armament, they have been with us for a long time. Their making and like their technological advances have been started since World War II by nations starting to try and build bombs that could be controlled, or basically remote controlled bombs. So that's where the idea of drones would come, such as like they thought that if we can control a bomb, we can control like where it falls, where we can like if it's going to like hit here and like it's going like it's falling and like it's falling here, but we don't want it to fall here, we want it to fall here. So we could just like glide it towards that area and like hit it over there, and that was basically the idea of guided bombs. Now tons of people tried to make these guided bombs and they were successful, and guided bombs are actually a thing, but then they decided that why just like not make drones. Drones are just basically bombs. Like if you have paid attention to them, they're pretty close. The drone has wings, a bomb has wings. A drone is like has a shape, and like the bomb has the same shape. The drone has just a bunch of camera attached to it, and the bomb has a bunch of explosive devices. Now, due to this, they thought, well, let's just replace the explosive devices within the bomb with cameras and electronic devices and other things that we can use for espionage. And then they thought, well, we now have something, what should we call it? And then they all thought for a long time, and then drones were invented. Drones have been with us for as long as the Cold War. In fact, one of the main uses for drones was in the Cold War, because of the fact the Cold War wasn't like, as you know, it's a Cold War. There wasn't any warm fightings in them, if we don't count any of the warm fightings in them, including the Korean War and the Vietnam War. But like besides that, it was mainly espionage wars, because like the Americans just tried to figure out what the Russians were doing, and the Russians were trying to figure out what the Americans were doing, and it was just basically this going on and on again, until they decided to like make multiple devices that they could do this with. Tons of other devices. They can do espionage better, they cannot get caught, they can catch enemy spies, and just basically this caused a ton of advancements within many fields of technology. One of them being drones. Why? Because of the fact drones can spy from air. In fact, it's just like satellites. Satellites can capture images from way high up, and like when you look at them, they're pretty accurate if they have high quality. So once they see it, they like, if you're going to plan an operation within that area, like we send in our troops from here, and then they go to here, they do this, they go to the other place, they do the other thing, and then they go to this place for extraction. And like due to this, they had maps, and drones were perfect for making these maps because they fly at a lower altitude, so they could like photograph a smaller area with higher accuracy than with satellites. So yeah, basically espionage drones were this, but later on they decided like the drones can easily be spotted by radars. So such as like USSR drones were being detected by radars within Europe, USA drones were being detected by USSR radars, and then they decided coating them with like radar, like and onto radar material, and like making them undetectable by radar. And this also itself caused tons of advancements, such as high-flying drones such as Lockheed U-2 actually had to fly so high up that the pilot that had to go inside of it had to wear a spacesuit because of how high up it was going to fly. In fact, one of the Lockheed U-2s actually did come near Persia, and it wasn't expecting to get detected, but it got detected, and then the pilot didn't believe it. They said they randomly sent a message, and it happened to be towards us. So he actually asked the Persian coast, not the coast guard, but the radar guards, and he told them tell me which direction I'm going and my speed. And then the Persians, the Persian radio communicator actually said this, and then after the plane saw it was spotted, he quickly turned away, and he left Iran because of the fact that he was flying so high up, and only some of the most advanced USSR radars were able to detect it. It didn't thought we could detect it, but we could. Anyway, that's not the point. But I just wanted to say you how anti-material, anti-radar material work. So then later on they decided drones are good because we can see things. What if we can see things, and then at the same time as we see things, we can just shoot at things? And then combat drones were designed. Besides the fact that they could do reconnaissance in case they spot a high value target such as a tank or a vehicle or a politically important target, they could arm their drones, and then the drone would be able to arm its weapons and then shoot the target, possibly destroying it, such as some drones were armed with great missiles that could destroy even modern battle tanks. But some drones were armed with machine guns that were designed for lighter combat, and sometimes they weren't even armed with to things that could kill, but just things that could defend the drone itself, such as flares. These are things that they would put on the drones that in case the drone got detected, the drone's importance chart is we don't want the drone to get detected. We want the drone that in case detected, we want it to be able to protect itself. And then we would want the drone to not only protect itself, but on anything that's on the ground, or maybe even it can attack the opponent. It's no longer a defensive armament. It's now an offensive armament. So then they added a bunch of weapons, and then they thought something. After the USA come into Iraq, Afghanistan, and then they had tons of close calls with IEDs, or improvised explosive device. These were just basically devices made up from whatever piece of electronics and explosive devices people of Iraq and Afghanistan could find. And then they would make these, and then they would hide these on the roads, next to roads, in houses, and whenever American troops or European troops would go in, they would step on it, or sometimes they were put so deep on the ground that the weight of infantry were not able to trigger it. So a tank must have crossed it, and then once a tank crossed it, it would explode, possibly exploding the tank, or even if not exploding it, it could turn it over, making it possibly useless. So the Americans saw this, and then later on, the Iraqis thought this, and they thought, why can't we just make moving IEDs? They made car bombs and bomb trucks that were just basically bombs strapped to vehicles, that the driver would be stupid enough to drive into somewhere and explode not only himself, but all the people around him. And then the Americans saw this, and they thought that that's a great idea, because it can explode, and it can kill lots of people, and that it's literally unstoppable, because missiles and other things, you can easily tell them apart from a car, and then you can easily intercept them. So is drones. Drones are easy to intercept, so when you try to strap a missile to a drone, it won't be as effective as just filling the drone itself with explosives and then just hitting the building or the vehicle that you want to destroy with the drone, because due to this, the vehicle won't be able to tell whether the drone is coming towards him, whether it's an espionage drone, whether it's a combat drone, or whether it's an explosive drone. It won't be able to tell, so it will have a hard time intercepting it. Besides that, you control the drone, and the drone has a set speed. Unlike missiles that you can't control the speed, it's going at a certain speed, you can only control where it's going. You can control the speed, but the speed control that you have is not as varied as you have on the drone. On drone, you can, like, when you see you're getting intercepted, you can easily just pull back. It's just like the Stuka, like from World War II. If you saw it, it comes down and then it suddenly goes up. It's an impressive thing for an aircraft to do back in World War II. Anyway, this video is getting pretty long, so make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the war bell to be notified of the rest of the wars that will occur on the channel later. Thank you for watching again. Make sure to leave some ideas within the comments for what my next video be about, and stand by for the next video.